Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Just kicking around here. Got a few minutes before the Stanley Cup final gets underway. I got to tell you, I am sick of Steve Levy, dude. It has become such a tilted Oilers broadcast. It's honestly funny because it almost goes into what I want to talk about today with the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics, because I mean, the Miami Heat have weighed heavily on the minds of the Celtics since they've won the championship. And look, you win, you get to go out there, you get to talk your shit. I am a proponent of that. You get to talk your shit. But the type of shit you go out there and talk has been very weird. It's been very weird. And like today's viral clip of Jayson Tatum, the plagiarist, stealing everybody's Kobe's, Kevin Garnett, stealing everybody's ideas for celebration, comes down to Miami. To what reason, you can only say it was just a big, monster f*** you to the Miami Heat and a big middle finger to his friend Bam Adebayo and whatever. I guess do what you want when you want to celebrate. But then today he says just a complete fallacy, which is he's got Scalabrine the weenie up there, ducker of Eric Spoelstra press conferences after claiming Spo calls a code red because poor little Jayson Tatum, because it was so easy. Poor little Jayson Tatum hit the hardwood. And he's like, oh, you guys have had, even Scalabrine says, hey, you've had many hard-fought battles with Miami. And Tatum's like, it's always easy. I'm like, all right, dude. Now we're living in Peter Pan land. We're making things up. But you know what? Jayson Tatum is right. I would imagine if you had a year where you got to be crowned champion and you had a red carpet down to the finals where you didn't have to face the boogeyman and Jimmy Butler and you didn't have to face the Cavaliers' best player for half a series, and you basically got to go up against a 6-seed Indiana Pacers team that, had Tyrese Halliburton out there limping, and you're just like, you still are having to make sure you don't blow it against like Nembhard and Pascal Siakam. I would imagine if that is how I collected my first championship, I would think it was easy too. And I would especially think it was easy if I was really like the fourth most important Celtic in this entire run. Like if I was, getting lifted to the championship by Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, and Derek White's teeth, and I finally reached this crowning moment, I would think it's easy too. And yet, this guy gets to hoist that Larry O'Brien trophy around like a ball hog the entire time, and we can't just sit here and acknowledge the fact like, hey, he wasn't that impressive in this postseason run. Like, you can throw the overall collective numbers at it, but really, like, how many memories of Jayson Tatum do you have in these playoffs? Very few. Very few. So hopefully, Jayson Tatum enjoys this. They should engrave coattails in the inside of his ring and, thank Jaylen Brown, double MVP, for taking him here. And, this is going to be the thing that the Heat are going to have to eat with all this. But look, he can say what he wants to say. Hey, Jimmy Butler was out here and he was talking crap about the Celtics and he wasn't even playing, which is kind of what pissed Pat Riley off in the first place. But all I can really hope for with the Heat is like for the Heat fans who are pissed off right now, and you're wondering why the Celtics are so demonically obsessed with talking about the Miami Heat in this moment. Hey, it's been a great talking back and forth. And you can just hope that all these memories that are gathering are not part of the Celtics going on some kind of a title run, that the Heat can stand in between them, make the moves that they need to make happen or get healthy, and that things can be more competitive next year. Because, yeah, it was a very unfulfilling, unenjoyable year by the Miami Heat that basically felt like it was a lost cause pretty much from the time that the entire NBA media went against the Miami Heat, put this whole PR campaign against sweet Damian Lillard to not let him be the first superstar to go where he wants to get traded, ergo rerouting Drew Holiday from the Milwaukee Bucks to the Boston Celtics, and yay, Boston gets their championship. So congratulations to the Boston Media Mafia. Congratulations to everybody at the staff at the Ringer, EEI, NBC Boston. Congratulations. Happy for you and your easy championship because, yeah, you know what? He's saying the quiet part out loud. Maybe not all the trips to Miami have been easy, but this year with the Celtics, it was easy breezy for them. And kind of what makes it so unbelievably unfulfilling, I would imagine. But he gets to, almost think back to the adversity of last year and just know that he can thank his lucky stars every single night he closes his eyes that Jimmy Butler wasn't able to play in these playoffs. As a Heat fan and with the Heat organization, God, I just hope that for the Heat standpoint, I hope this just burns in their soul how annoying this is and feel like you can't just sit idly by and let this continue to happen, and you have to figure a way to get over the mountaintop. And I think when you hear Jayson Tatum talking this, it's why Pat Riley was probably so annoyed with Jimmy Butler speaking, because it's like, hey, man, I know you're confident. It's that time. Playoff Jimmy. Walk off the court in the middle of the playoffs saying you're the best player of the world last year. But when you're not there, you're not there. You can't do anything about it. So the hope, and my hope is that for Pat, Spo, the Arrisons, Adam, Simon in the draft room, Andy Ellisberg in the cat room, Alonzo Mourning in the weight room, Udonis Haslem in the culture room, all of these guys take this, Bam Adebayo included, Jimmy Butler included, Tyler Hero included, Jaime, Nico, whomever's going to be back. And I hope that you take this and you use it, because they clearly did with you. They clearly had the Miami Heat on their mind the entire season. This was the great victory, not winning in the finals against a former teammate in Kyrie Irving, not beating an MVP candidate in Luka Doncic. The Heat was what was on their mind. The Heat is what drove them. And it's time for the Heat to have the Celtics be what drives them to get back over the top. And I think they took that for granted. I think that they really felt like they could punk this team. But when you don't have your star, you don't have your lead dog to go out there and get it done, it's tough, because that's what makes the idea of getting rid of Jimmy Butler so hard. Because as much as I'm, a Bam Adebayo guy and I love Bam, can Bam do that? Can Bam, be the guy who's going to lead everybody? I know that as a part of it with Jimmy, I know that he can. But is he ready to take the reins if they do move on from the Jimmy Butler era? Which it was interesting today because Udonis Haslem was on First Take, did a fantastic job. I got to say, his addition, I think I've sung his praises more than his agent probably has, if he even has an agent at this point. I don't even know. But I've told you back when I first saw him, I'm like, I'm so glad finally, after having all these former Bostonians and Cavaliers on that network, finally the Miami Heat have their guy. And he got to say the crazy thing today when they were asking about why, who is the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics in the East. And he goes, are we kidding here? You're gonna just blatantly ignore the Miami Heat again? Like, we're gonna do this again. And it was great to have that from you, Udonis, because the Heat fan never gets to have this on these platforms. And I don't, Udi just retired, and he's obviously really, really good at this. Really, really good at this. And thankfully, you do get to have him be the guy who's going to step out there and say the crazy things that, you know what? Even if it is a little bit off, even if it is a little bit homerish, good. Because we've had to deal with that on the other side of it. I still have to deal with it on the damn hockey broadcast with this Steve Levy, who I'm sick of.
I ain't gonna straddle the fence at all. I'm finna get into my Stephen A. Bring that camera here. Let me get that camera on me. Let me get that camera. Because I'm tired of this. Duncan Robinson, Terry Rozier, Jimmy Butler, a young superstar in Bam Adebayo, a young superstar in Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Niko Jovic. Why don't nobody ever say the Miami Heat?
And a heck of a coach.
The last 4 or 5 years, it's come down to the Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics. Milwaukee snuck themselves in there, but it's come down to the Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics. And we got La Sposta Nostra. So I'm sitting here asking, why don't nobody ever say the Miami Heat? A healthy Miami Heat is the team that can challenge Boston because we've done it the last 4 out of 5 years. I'm sick of this, man. I thought I was going to listen. This got to stop. The Heat hate got to stop. It ain't sexy enough. Listen, it ain't sexy. It ain't sexy enough for y'all.
We don't even know if you're going to have Jimmy Butler.
It ain't sexy enough for y'all.
We don't even know if we're going to have your best player.
We do know we're going to have our best player. You ain't heard us say he's going nowhere. We just hear y'all saying he's going somewhere. Ain't none of us ever say he's going somewhere. So what? Is it not sexy enough for y'all because all we do is win?
I mean,
I want to put this like, I don't know, almost like behind some like waterfall music. Like I wish I could go to sleep to this rant every single night. It's so good. I don't care if it's ridiculous that you start off a rant with Duncan Robinson as your argument. First of all, the Dunkyard Dog, maybe other than Jimmy, the biggest loss of the season. The biggest loss of the season because my man wasn't right out there with his spine being all jacked up. Terry Rozier with his messed up neck, got a foam thing like he's trying to win a lawsuit. I don't like that. I mean, but the fact that UD gets to go out there and do this now, and I see people out here who are like, he can't do both jobs. Let me tell you something, Jackals, okay? He absolutely can. And let me tell you something right now. Not only can he do the job, but it's beneficial that he has the job because now, all of a sudden, these cronies, these O'Keefe O'Malley cronies out there who are horrified that the Miami Heat could put a package out there to get Damian Lillard. Yeah, he can go out there and he can say things like Tyler Hero's a superstar. And you want to know something? Maybe one of these GMs will buy it. Maybe they'll be like, you know what, he is pretty good. UD says it. He makes a convincing argument. And the Heat haven't had that. They haven't. They had D Wade. You know, they had D Wade on the TNT broadcast, but you know they're not doing this. This is not in your cafeterias. This is not in your airports. This is not in your offices, really. So, God, I was so glad UD did that. And by the way, I love him definitively saying, hey, we didn't say Jimmy Butler was going anywhere. You guys did. Which, by the way, also happened today because Howard Beck, he's trying to backtrack because he wrote today in The Ringer, surprising, who's going to be the biggest star to change teams this summer. He writes, Jimmy Butler will be traded. Rival executives have been buzzing about it for months for all the obvious reasons. Butler's about to turn 35 with a lot of hard miles with 1 year left on his Heat contract, reportedly seeking a 2-year extension. If the Heat grant it, they'll have little to no flexibility to add another star, and they absolutely need one, which, you know, it's kind of a weird thing to write because it's like you need another star, but you can't get a star unless you trade Jimmy Butler, and it's like, yeah, but then if you lose Jimmy Butler, then you go, you need another star, and then you're going to need another star. Anyway, credit Butler for powering Miami to 2 finals in 5 seasons. A team built around Butler and Bam Adebayo isn't enough to challenge the Celtics, Bucks, or Sixers. Yeah, it's construction, maybe not, but like it's like the Heat aren't. This is the thing. And I think this is kind of UD's. It's like the Heat aren't allowed to move. Only the Sixers are allowed to make big moves. Only the Knicks are allowed to make big moves. The Heat can't make a move. But I think the thing that's been frustrating with fans banging their head against the wall, Pat, Mickey, Nick, Andy, Spo, has been, we've all seen this, that you have one of the best duos in the league. And you have gone blow for blow. But you sat on your hands this year. You know, all right, cool. You got Terry Rozier. I mean, maybe that would have worked out. I don't know. He had a great game in Cleveland, but and against the Knicks. Maybe that would have worked out. I don't know. But are they really seriously going to just sit and hope, roll the dice, and get it to it? And Beck is trying to like, this is just a prediction, not a report. Whatever, dude. You said what you said. Own it. But UD's out here saying, nah, he's not going anywhere. Windhorst was on the same broadcast. He says he's not going anywhere. It is weird Windhorst is trying to chum it up with UD now. You know. But what are you going to do? I just found this, delightful. See, as annoyed as I was by Jayson Tatum today, I was equally as delighted by what Udonis Haslem did. He is the best. Love UD. Happy with what he's doing. And, I don't need to double down on my rants that I went on today on the radio show about what the Heat got to do. I stand by it. Things need to be fixed. I think it can be done around Bam and Jimmy. So let's get it done, baby. Let's get it done. Enough of this nonsense out here. And hopefully we can get all these Sully and Murphs the hell off my television. I'm sick of them.